Welcome, and yes, I'm actually using Sonic gameplay since I actually decided to try out a Sonic game for the first time, and I actually gotta admit, it's actually pretty great. I actually got Sonic X Shadow Generations and it was on my Nintendo Switch for a Christmas gift. I gotta admit, it's pretty good. I also got the original Sonic game on my iPad, and it's pretty good. But yeah, overall, I am pretty glad to see that I was able to try out Sonic. Now, the reason why I'm of course using Sonic gameplay is because, of course, I get to talk about the topic for today, Sonic 3. But yeah, if you knew me for quite a while, you already know I am a major fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I only became a fan of it, of course, because of how recognizable it was for a video game franchise. But like, literally though, I even watched the movies, and yeah, I actually gotta admit, it's pretty good. And third one pretty much might be my favorite, considering the fact that it is literally does good, and it literally reminded me about how relatable it was to me. It reminded me about what Spider-Verse did to me, and I am very glad. So yeah, overall, I am pretty glad to say that I did enjoy Sonic 3, and I was really right that it was gonna be good. I mean, it is literally my favorite movie of 2024, with second place being The Wild Robot, of course. Now, I know not everybody's gonna like the movie, but that's of course fine. But like, oh my goodness, yeah, I noticed that Sonic Hedgehog 3 is literally becoming one of the most controversial films of 2024. The reason why is because, for starters, the drama between Disney and Sonic 3. Like, literally though, Disney's now trying to buy Sega. And of course, the hated towards things, which I gotta say, it's crazy. And of course, the topic of today, literally this erotic review of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Yes, I'm not actually joking. Like, literally though, like, I don't know how this person here can literally get broken by as a father. Like, what am I literally looking at here? Now, trust me, lots of you have been trending, and honestly, I figured out, you know what, I want to go into this conversation as well. So let's see what this review is all about, I guess.
When a man becomes a father, he's called upon to make sacrifices for his family. And often these will be small sacrifices. Sometimes they'll be larger, though, more significant.
Oh boy, this type of cliche I've been hearing a lot about before, but like, whatever, I guess. But like, to be fair though, like, you're not the only person that, of course, has to make sacrifices for. That's not just for yourself, but for all the other people. Like, literally, of course, mothers are allowed to do that. And of course, literally, even kids can, of course, do that. Like, I've done some sacrifices for myself, but only for, of course, to change my entire life career, and literally, like, what I, of course, did around this channel, which I, of course, did, which I sacrificed my friendship for Foxy for now I can, of course, try to, of course, continue on. And, of course, but yeah, basically, though, I don't know why just he has to bring this up, if you ask me.
And on even rarer occasion, the duties of fatherhood will require him to make the kind of sacrifice that, up to that moment, he would have thought himself incapable of making. These are the moments when a man must become a hero, when he must lay his very life on the line. And this may take many forms. Perhaps he's rushing into a burning building to rescue his child from the fire. Perhaps he has to pull his loved one away from the path of a speeding train because they've been tied to the tracks by bandits or whatever.
Jeez, like, these are random cliches. Like, the one saving, of course, somebody, of course, from a fire building, like saving a kid, I can at least give it a pass. So, to be fair, though, nobody, of course, deserves to be around a fire building, a building that's literally on fire. But, like, oh my goodness, the other type of one. Like, I know it is a good thing to, of course, save someone literally from being tied from bandits by a train tracks, but, like, oh my goodness, that's literally just generic. Like, literally, that's basically that's what Fresco say, which you already know I don't even like stuff like that, and you can already tell why.
Or most harrowing of all, he may be compelled by his paternal obligations to go to a movie theater and watch Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
How is that literally the most hilarious thing you would, of course, ever do? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, it's not like, of course, you're basically trying to, of course, save someone's life, or basically, of course, chase around for something. Like, it's just a movie. You're just watching a movie. Like, what are you talking about? Also, for those of you who don't know what harrowing means, which I'm, of course, still learning the word because I just started looking up the definition right now, it means actually distressing. A harrowing film about racism and violence. Like, of course, serious stuff. Like, of course, some stuff like violence, terrorism, like, it doesn't make any sense for that to be the most horrifying thing of all things. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Now, a man in that situation would, of course, much prefer to be engulfed in flames or hit by a speeding train, but that would be the coward's way out.
I'll rather watch a movie rather than, of course, literally doing whatever you said. Yes, even literally on my least favorite movie, which is, of course, Mother 2017, I'd rather watch that movie over literally being joyous into, of course, death.
He endures Sonic the Hedgehog 3 for the sake of his children, whom he loves. And over Christmas break, that is precisely the situation that...
I'm just gonna skip the part until he actually tries to talk about, what he, of course, did when it comes to, of course, watching Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which he watched it last Thursday during the winter break, by the way.
I did. Now, before I offer my brief review of this thing that I hesitate to call a film, I must first acknowledge, in all fairness, I never saw Sonic the Hedgehog 1 or Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
I'm sorry, you never watched the first two movies? Are you kidding me? Now, like, I know it is kind of sometimes a common thing for, of course, you know, people to, of course, look at a sequel without watching the original movie, but, like, seriously, though, you could have at least watched the first movie so now you can at least understand what was going on about Sonic 3. Like, literally, though, like, I, of course, did the same thing when I, of course, rewatched the first Spider-Man into Spider-Verse before I could literally look at Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I did the same thing with the first two Troll movies before I watched Trolls Band Together. I, of course, did the same thing with the Kung Fu Panda 3 movies, if you know, back in 2010s, of course, before I watched Kung Fu Panda 4. And I, of course, did the same thing with the Despicable Me trilogy, including the Minions movies, you know, the prequels. I even did that before I looked at Despicable Me 4. I, of course, watched the first Chicken Run before I literally looked at the newer sequel. So, like, you could have at least looked at that first two Sonic movies. Like, seriously, though.
It's possible that one cannot fully appreciate the narrative complexities of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 without having seen the first two chapters in this epic Hedgehog saga.
Yeah, I'm literally just getting confused over hearing this. Like, I'm pretty sure maybe if they did keep the ugly Sonic, like, you know, what I'm referring to, of course, meow. Like, I really doubt, though, that maybe it would have done that. But, like, still, though, like, what are you even trying to say? I'm literally so confused right now hearing this.
Maybe the other two movies are works of staggering artistic genius that would elevate the third installment and lend it the sort of context necessary for me to have appreciated it and enjoyed it instead of feeling like I was being waterboarded with high fructose corn syrup the whole time. But I doubt it.
Yep, this is why you should have watched the first two movies so that you can at least understand. And trust me, they are literally cinematic masterpieces, just like what the third one, of course, is as well.
I mean, this is the kind of movie where Jim Carrey plays two characters. One is the evil villain, and the other is the evil villain's evil grandfather in old age makeup. And the two break into an impromptu dance routine that makes no narrative sense but lasts approximately 87 minutes. It's the kind of movie where those same characters before the dance routine actually look directly into the camera and explain that they're being played by the same actor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the one that's not making sense is you. Like, literally, though. Like, how can the dance routine not make any sense? Like, I'm not really that, of course, focused on that part, but of course. But, like, to be fair, they're probably just celebrating just for temporary ruling for, of course, winning. Like, what exactly are you talking about right here? Like, you're completely lost in me right now.
I must assume, and I think assume safely, that there is nothing in the other two films that would make this one any less obnoxious or horrifically stupid. I'm not going to bother explaining the plot of this film in any detail. I wasn't tracking it that closely, to be honest. I was mostly fighting to stay awake. This is the kind of movie that bores you to the point of putting you to sleep, but also annoys you at the same time. It's kind of an odd combination to be both sleepy and deeply irritated simultaneously.
I don't believe this guy. Like, literally, though. Like, how exactly can a Sonic movie literally bore you? Like, come on! It's gotta go fast, just like what the first two movies did. Yes, they did not bore me. I don't know how you got bored by this, but, like, literally, though. And, yeah, apparently you falling asleep. Unfortunately, though, that did happen to me before. Like, I fell asleep one time when I was watching Black Panther. It happened to me before when I was also watching the Jurassic World movie, of course. And it also happened to me before when I watched Knives Out in 2019. Unfortunately. But thankfully, though, I am at least not happy to, of course, deal with that much anymore. So at least that is something. But still, though, like, I do at least try my best to stay awake. And, of course, majority of the time, it, of course, works. Like, I don't know how this movie, of course, made you fall asleep and literally bored, because it makes no sense. And I guess that explains why you, of course, did a terrible job literally explaining why you don't like this movie, because you literally said you won't explain the plot with any detail. But to be fair, though, you probably don't want to give spoilers, so I guess I could understand that. But still, though, like, come on! I'm pretty sure most of us Sonic fans, and even people that are probably not familiar with the franchise, have seen the movie before. So, like, I guess you could get spoilers. You can just consider that a spoiler written for those that haven't seen the movie yet, you know?
As for the plot, I can only tell you that Sonic is the good hedgehog, which you may know. There's also an evil hedgehog voiced by Keanu Reeves, who, and I like Keanu Reeves, by the way, but like every other voice actor in this film and most voice actors in most children's films that have been made for the past 20 years, he has no talent as a voice actor and doesn't understand how to act with just your voice. But he's famous, so that's good enough, I suppose.
Could you at least elaborate how it doesn't work for you? Like, to me, I actually find the voice actor of Sato to be really good. Like, literally, though, he did a good job, literally, of course, doing the voice of what the original Sato, of course, did in the original Sonic series. Like, what are you even talking about? You're not even trying to even find ways to convince me that you're right and your opinion is understandable. Like, seriously, though.
So Sonic has to stop the evil hedgehog and his evil cohorts, that's the Jim Carrey dancing duo I mentioned earlier, from blowing up the world with a big laser. And, you know, this has been the evil plan of every evil villain in every blockbuster franchise film for the past 3 decades. It's a formula that this movie is not interested in deviating from. This is not the sort of movie that deviates from formulas. Now,
okay, you actually did not pay attention to the movie. Okay, spoilers warning for those that haven't seen Sonic 3. It's not, they did not agree to actually destroy the world. It's only Gerald and Sato that wants to destroy the world. While Robotnik, on the other hand, wants to rule the world, which, yeah, if I was Robotnik, I would definitely be like him, since, you know, I'm someone that would have ruled the world. But, like, still, though, ruling the world is better than literally destroying it. So, like, I don't know why you're even bringing this up. And besides, later, when Robotnik, of course, finds out the plan, Robotnik realized that what Jared was doing was unacceptable, so he decided to betray him and decided to save the world. Like, are you even sure you watched the movie? Like, what?
if you're wondering why the evil hedgehog and the 2 Jim Carreys want to explode the world and murder 8 billion people in a cosmic blast that they will also die in, it's because the older Jim Carrey's granddaughter, I think, was killed, and now he wants to commit murder-suicide because life isn't worth living. Like, that's real. That's in the movie. He actually declares his suicidal intention as well. Now, if that seems like weirdly bleak and dark for a kid's movie where the characters bust out impromptu dance routines and randomly break the fourth wall and constantly speak in internet lingo from 2019, there's a lot of that, by the way. Just as one example, at one point, Jim Carrey says, "Damn you, autocorrect." If it seems weirdly bleak and dark for that kind of movie, it's because it is.
So it's really messed up over the fact that you didn't even pay attention to literally the backstory. Like, you know that they had a reason to literally be suicidal. Like, literally though. And I don't blame them because I actually feel their pain at times. You know, Sato and Gerald. So I don't know why you had to bring this up when you're literally, of course, doing this. Nonsense like this. Also, animated children movies, heck, even random kids movies and movies that family movies can, of course, have dark elements in them, and they can work out pretty well. A good example, Puss in Boots: Last Wish, and that movie was able to work out because of the fact that with the action scenes, and of course, Bruce's anxiety moment, and especially, of course, when it comes to the self-defense, and of course, the humor, it actually works pretty well when it comes to the dark elements. And Puss in Last Wish was, of course, a great example. There are other movies, of course, like Germans was able to do this a lot of times, like The Wild Robot as well. So, like, why are you even bringing this up? Now, if you're asking, yes, I am being someone that, of course, doesn't really like dark elements when it comes to, of course, movies. I mean, like, can you blame me? I am kind of like that. I mean, you are talking to someone that, of course, is like horror movies. Like, come on, I at least enjoy some dark element movies, like, you know, the Spider-Verse movies, of course, and even Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So, like, why are you even bringing this up anyways? Like, it's very ironic for you not to even pay attention. Like, it seems to me that you people don't care about people's feelings then, huh?
This is a movie, like so many kids' movies these days, that schizophrenically darts back and forth from being ironic to painfully self-serious to goofy to earnest, and so on and so on. It doesn't try to smooth over these tonal transitions with good writing or performances. The writing is just terrible, and the performances are atrocious across the board. Instead of just,
my guy, have you ever watched Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate? Like, literally, no. Like, that's an actual movie with terrible writing and, of course, literally terrible performances. So how exactly can Sonic 3 literally end up the same performance and literally, of course, logic and, of course, average performance on Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate? You're not making any sense. You're literally losing my mind all of a sudden.
just flings it all against the wall haphazardly, because these are all bullet points that the movie studio knows it has to hit. Because this movie, again, like so many kids' movies these days, is not the fulfillment of anyone's creative vision. It is just the product of a corporate algorithm. It is loud and ugly and obnoxious and disjointed because nobody who made the film actually cared about making a good film.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one that's literally like a care is you. Like, you're not even giving out any good reasons on why Sonic 3 is a bad movie. Like, literally though. Also, lack of care on how it's ugly. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, seriously though, it does not even feature ugly Sonic anyways. Yeah?
and they have absolutely no respect for their audience. I mean, this movie could have been made by AI. We are at a point. If they start making movies with AI, we would not know the difference because they've effectively been doing that for 20 years now. Now,
yeah, it's you that's actually not respecting your audience because you gave us this literally bad review. Like, seriously though, like, it's already crazy enough. Like, how exactly is this review already the worst movie review of 2025? Like, literally though, we're not even literally 20 days in of 2025 already, and all of a sudden we already found the worst movie review of 2025? Like, seriously though, like, oh my goodness. Also, like, how can this movie be made by AI? Like, it doesn't make any sense, like, literally though. Like, seriously. I mean, this has happened before, but like, I can tell that movies like Megamind vs. the Doomsday was definitely made by AI, but like, it's debatable though.
you might respond here, as many people on Twitter did after I gave a very brief review of this film in a tweet on the site a few days ago. You might respond that, well, this movie isn't for me, it's for kids. Well, first of all, tell that to the other people in the theater with us. I can tell you that my kids were by far the youngest people in attendance. There were multiple groups of adults, just adults, no kids, whole groups of them who bought tickets to Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Also, tell it to the multiple grown adults who got angry at me on Twitter for not liking the movie. The funny thing is that a lot of those same people say, well, it's not for you, it's for kids. Why are you getting so upset about it then? Why are you tearfully defending a movie that you claim is not for you either?
Tell that to the adult. Oh my goodness, like, literally though. Also, yes, it may be sucky for them to, of course, be the only kids around there, but like, literally though, the Sonic franchise has been around for 30 years, so like, what do you expect? Like, seriously though, like, oh my goodness. Like, it seems to me that you're trying to, of course, make us assume this. Like, literally though, this movie can be enjoyed by everybody. Of course, kids will of course, mainly be, of course, attached to this, and of course, adults are major fans of Sonic. But like, who says that everybody can, of course, enjoy a family movie? Like, this is absolutely nonsense for you to say this. Like, you remind me about what anime, of course, did when it comes to when he reviewed the My Neighbor's Totoro movie, which I surprisingly enough liked that movie despite me not being a major fan of Studio Ghibli.
In fact, one person told me that my negative comments had upset, and I'm repeating this phrase verbatim, had upset the, quote, Sonic community. Now, those are not kids who identify themselves as members of the Sonic community. My 8-year-old loves Sonic, but he's not on Twitter furiously defending the Sonic community from its detractors. So I agree that these kinds of movies are for kids, but I am not the one who needs to be told that.
Well, I'm a 17-year-old that's literally, of course, a major fan of Sonic Hedgehog franchise, and I'm not on Twitter since I don't use Twitter, apparently, but I might kind of consider getting it. But, like, still, though, I don't use Twitter to, of course, literally be so crazy about it, and, of course, defend it, but I am here defending you, and, like, you know what am I saying? I meant to say, I'm, of course, here defending Sonic the Hedgehog 3 from this crappy review that you made, literally.
Okay. Second, and this is most important, and it shouldn't need to be explained, but really it does, and that's really my only point here. It is possible to make a children's movie that, although it's for children, is still a good, high-quality piece of art. I don't hate children's movies just because they're for children. Quite the opposite. As a father of 6, I've watched many, many children's movies. Okay, I've watched way more than the average person because I have so many kids. And I greatly appreciate the good ones. A few nights ago, just as an example, we watched the movie Iron Giant with my kids, and that's an animated children's film. It's also well-written, beautifully illustrated, brilliantly performed, tonally consistent. It's funny and heartwarming, and at points it's sad, but it works all of that in a way that feels natural to the story. It's a children's film, and it's also a great film.
I mean, I'm someone that, of course, likes a lot of children's movies. I mean, I am a child myself anyway, so, like, what do you expect? But, like, still, though, like, this is still nonsense if you ask me. Like, seriously, though. Like, even Sonic the Hedgehog 3, of course, was literally able to become a children's movie. I mean, while it is, of course, it was able to work out, literally, of course, becoming an all-time piece of art. Like, how are you not saying this?
One that I can watch and also enjoy. Because, as it turns out, children's movies are not just for children. They're for parents, too. Or at least they should be. Okay, if a kid's movie or kid's show is so grating and so dumb and so unpleasant that parents can't stand to be in the same room while it's on, that doesn't mean it's for kids. It isn't for kids. It isn't for anyone. It's just bad. And the fact that people say, well, of course it's bad, it's for kids, tells you everything you need to know about our culture.
Dear goodness, like, this is absolutely confusing and very nonsense if you ask me. Like, seriously though, this guy here is probably doing a worse job than whatever Animate would, of course, do. Like, seriously though, at least Animate, of course, at least tries to, of course, explain with good points and literally understandable reasons. Even though, of course, sometimes I will definitely have disagreements with him and literally everybody else. But, like, what? I don't blame them anyways, especially considering the fact that so many anime crap and nonsense. And, of course, him literally, you know what, I'm not gonna mention it, but, like, it literally has something to do with a controversial Netflix movie. But, like, still though, like, I don't know why you even try so hard. Like, you literally remind me a lot about what Trolls Band Together Phantasm 1's literally, of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse review.
They act like it's ridiculous to expect the content produced for kids to be high quality or to have any artistic merit whatsoever. But I tend to think exactly the opposite. I think content produced for kids should especially be high quality and should especially have artistic merit. Which is why I hated Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and why it is today, I must say, sadly, canceled.
Phew, I'm just gonna end it right here because obviously he's just explaining it, but yeah, and you're wondering, yes, this person here has more than just a channel. Like, he's literally a famous person, but like, it's so embarrassing how he literally made a terrible take on this. Like, literally, though. Oh my goodness. Anyways, yeah, you can already tell I did not like the view. I mean, you are talking to someone, of course, likes Sonic the Hedgehog 3, but like, seriously, though, this guy here did a poorly job literally explaining why Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is a bad movie. Like, seriously, though. Now, I know people don't, well, of course, have the right to, of course, not like the movie, which that's, of course, okay, but, like, don't be like this guy here, like, of course, doing a terrible job explaining what's wrong with the movie. Like, seriously, though. Oh, my goodness. And, yeah, this review is definitely, without a doubt, the worst movie review of 2025 so far. Like, people are really gonna have to try so hard to make a worse movie review than this. Like, seriously, though. Like, I don't know how it's very crazy for a movie review to be already getting that title when it's only, of course, only been 13 days. Like, seriously. And, yes, this review literally reminds me a lot about what Avengers Band Together Phantasm 1's infamous take on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Like, literally, though. Do I think it's worse than that? No, because I will give it that he at least did not go that far, right? Of course, comparing it to a terrorism attack. But, like, still, though, he did a really terrible job. I don't know why he has to even literally make this when he literally didn't even pay attention. He could have at least looked at the first two movies. Oh, well, at least I am able to be glad that I, of course, got this video done, which I am glad to see that. And this is officially the third longest, and this is also 20 minutes long. So, yeah, that's it for the video, so bye. And I will, of course, see, I wonder how if this video is going to trend, which I hope it does.